Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the ACES-BCA Digital Delivery Webinar 2.0. My name is Tuan Ting from BCA. Today, we are glad to partner the Associations of Consulting Engineers Singapore, ACES, to organize this live webinar series to continue our dialogues on digitalizations with the built environment professionals like all of you. Before we start the event, we would like to highlight some administrative matters. You're on mute setting by default. Should you have any questions about the discussion topics, you may do so by clicking the raise hand or Q&A button on your screen. At the end of the three presentations, the webinar chair and panel of speakers will address your questions. You may also direct your questions directly to the respective speakers. On your attendance and awarding of your CPD points, your data is captured if you have joined this webinar through the unique link sent to you. Do also note that when the session ends, you will be directed to access an evaluation form after you have exited the webinar. Once submitted, you will be able to download today's presentation's material. So here's an overview of today's program. This morning, we are privileged to have Mr. Muhammad Khalil bin Shaiful, Digital Delivery Manager, Boustead Project E&C Private Limited, Mr. Chris Bai Guang, BIM Manager, BHCC Construction Private Limited, and Mr. Andy Wong, General Manager, Digital G, to share with us the ups and downs of their digital delivery journey. Through the sharing, we hope you will better appreciate the benefits of digitizing the work processes for productivity gain. We are also honored to have Mr. Cheng Fatt, Managing Director, BCA, to deliver the welcome remarks. Engineer Swee Chiang, Co-Chairman, Information Technology Committee ACES, will also be chairing today's sessions. As an introduction, Mr. Cheng is the Managing Director, Built Environment Research and Innovation Institute, BERI, which aims to steer research and innovations towards a future-ready built environment. Without further ado, let us welcome Mr. Cheng. Mr. Cheng, please.
Good morning, everyone. And I hope all of you have been coping well, staying safe and healthy. Thank you to all of you for joining us in this second ACES-BCA Digital Delivery Webinar. I understand for this webinar, there's an overwhelming response. Close to 1,000 actually registered for this session. I must thank ACES for jointly working with BCA to organize this event. I think such sessions is really to share best practices about innovations and digital solutions. As you are aware, our industry is gearing up for a safe restart of construction activities. And we have to look at how to manage having a safe workforce, a safe workplace, a safe accommodation, and a safe transport. And to manage these four components, we have to rely on digital technology. And I think in a way, the COVID crisis gave us an impetus for our industry to embrace digital solutions at a faster pace. Today, we have an opportunity to learn about innovative digital approach by three of our leading contractors. I hope you will find the sharing insightful and also participate in the Q&A sessions, and feel free to share your thoughts and views. With that, I wish all of you a fruitful session, and will pass back to the MC on the rest of the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cheng. Engineer Mark, our webinar chair today, is an associate principal with more than 17 years of experience. In Arab, he is active in the digital drive and also a member of the Quality Executive Committee. He uses technology to improve workflows, quality of design, and productivity of his team. Without delay, let us invite our webinar chair to say a few words and introduce our speakers today. Over to you, Mark.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Mark. So I'll be your chair for today. I represent ACES and I'm a structural engineer from Arab. And first of all, I hope everybody is safe now and feeling comfortable at home listening to this webinar. So the reason why ACES is pushing for these seminars is that we want to bridge, between technology and our work, and we want to share experiences from various, gurus and practitioners, so that we don't leave anybody behind. So together we can have a better built environment in terms of productivity. And today we have a very exciting program lined up for you. I took a peek and see loads of innovative ideas and use of technology. And most importantly, they are real life examples. And the three contractors kindly, prepared to share with us. So I think without further ado, let me introduce the very first presenter. The first presenter will be Mr. Muhammad Khalil. Yes, Khalil is from Boustead, and he's BIM manager there. He's a bit promoter and for game-changing solutions such as BIM, virtual BDCs, and parametric and computational design. So he helps implement such workflows and protocol into Boustead projects and set up the infrastructure as well as the workflow, like I mentioned, to the various projects that Boustead is in. So today he will share with us a project at Kranji, that is JTC MSRF Kranji Green project. So let Khalil walk you through Boustead transformation journey in implementing the technology with loads of examples like what I mentioned just now. So Khalil, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Over to you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everyone. So a very good morning to everyone. And firstly, I'd like to give thanks to BCA and ACES for allowing me to share our implementation in terms of integrated digital delivery on JTC Kranji Green MSRF project. So allow me to start with our presentation now. With my presentation, give me a second. Sorry, let me just see. Right. Okay, so sorry about that. So I'm going to start to share with you guys our implementation journey in Kranji Green MSRF multi-story recycling factory. So I'll share with you along the way what are the implementation, and of course this is a project that have been awarded to Boustead project. And for our project implementation on IDD, we started off with paperless exchange of digital design model from right from the start. And then of course when we talk about digital delivery, BIM being the base of it, or digital model, building information model, we use it to share throughout the project team also. We have intensive collaboration. We use cloud data exchange through cloud. We have virtual reality for design or digital approval, and drones inspection, progress images. We have AI verification, artificial intelligence for as-built verification. digital project management, we have lean methodology, and we are using a lean construction methodology on this project to manage the project. Of course, we have digital inspection forms, and the number 10, we have digital tracking of precast element, which is being integrated into the BIM model updates. Next, as I mentioned just now, right from the start, we inherit our model from the consultants, right? And then we use these to utilize, or we use these to visualize our construction sequence with that. And we enhance further the digital model that allows us to use for activities just now, as what I mentioned earlier, site utilization, and then we add in more details. The level of detail and the level of information is being enhanced. So as what you can see here, this image, this is actually extracted from the construction model, which we inherited from the consultant earlier. I play a short video of our construction sequence. Right, so this is an example of how we utilize a digital model or building information model to create a construction sequence and better visualizing tools in that sense. And if you can see, it's being integrated with a schedule, and you can actually see the timeline below, the date, the start date, and the end date or the finish date. And this is being integrated all together with the digital model or building information model. Right, maybe I just speed up a bit. So as compared to conventional, how we show construction timeline and schedule, this is a very powerful way of visualization. And not only that, we have a very clear understanding of how the items are being installed based on the timeline also. The next slide. And not only in terms of the whole project timeline, we also can go into detail on to show how the installation sequence of a particular area. In this case, we show a video of how a sequence of the facade that is going to be installed at a particular area. So you can go into detail also with this beam-based construction sequence. Yeah, I think it's a bit laggy. Let me move forward. We do quantity takeoff from the BIM model. What it means is from the BIM model, the information are being extracted, and we can do certain activities for quantity takeoff for this project. And I like to showcase to you guys also what we have here. Okay, so this is a Boustead, is a mobile digital hub. What exactly it is a 40-footer container being retrofitted with the new or latest technology, such as high-end laptops that can facilitate VR activities. We also have VR goggles that can be used for visualization. We have interactive smart board, interactive screen for us to actually to share and also collaborate with different stakeholders, not only within the organization but also externally with our other stakeholders. So I touch a little bit why we do this. Sorry. So why we do this, as I mentioned, this is a mobile digital hub. It sits on a trailer bed, so it can be moved around Singapore. The idea here is mobility. So whenever it can be deployed, and basically it's a plug and play. It can deploy at any point of time, to any other site or areas. So for Kranji Green MSRF, we have this period, what we call intensive collaboration period, ICP. The objective of this period, I believe most of us who have experience getting models from the consultant or building information models, there's a lot of question mark whether this model, is it according to the design intent, and then is it what is being designed for. So the to allay all these fears or questions, we have this collaboration period that allows us to answer some of it. And first, the objective, we want to share visualization of different traits and discipline, validation of the design intent, as I mentioned earlier, identify design and coordination issues early, and of course, with the involvement of all stakeholders. In this case, if you can see, we have the architects, we even have the owners in JTC themselves participating in this to make sure the model that we inherit from the consultant are according to what is being designed for. So it takes place in a mobile digital hub. It become a collaborative space for us, where during the beginning of the project, the site office has yet to be set up, and yet we have a space for us to actually collaborate in this environment. And of course, you know, being I believe those who have been doing building information model, you guys right now have implemented meetings such as BIM coordination meeting. But separately, you also have your design meeting, you also have your technical meeting. But on this project, what we did was we integrate building information model or digital model into ICE session, and the technical meeting are being streamlined. So we don't have a separate meeting, a BIM coordination meeting and a technical meeting. Instead, we have one meeting, and we use BIM or digital model as a form of visualization, as a form of communication throughout the project stakeholder, which includes the consultants, our engineers, our architects, and also the contractors, our subcontractors downstream, who are involved, who are responsible for each trades to participate and resolve any coordination or design or technical issue during the meeting itself, being the digital model as a base of all this discussion, right? So it's not done in a silo or separate, and it allows us to streamline and at the same time become more productive in that sense. And of course, with that session, we collect before and after pictures to show where are the issues arising, and then we collect this data. I think at this time and era, data is, like they say, is a new oil. Data is king. So we want to use data rather than emotional, results coming. Data shows the correct result. So in this case, during that session, we also show, we collect the data, we identify the items, the number of items that needs to be resolved, we given the stipulated timeline and date. And we have a common data environment. Of course, as I mentioned just now, every data or every files is being hosted on cloud in this project. So we have a common data environment which is provided by the client in this case, where most of our forms, most of our files are being integrated on this common data environment. Another interesting session, as you know that conventionally what we do when we want to get approval from the consultant, or in this case the architect, in terms of design, we have to submit a set of drawings for approval. But now to expedite this process, we engage the architect early in the project, get them to use immersive technology such as VR, virtual reality, in this slides here, maybe I display. So what we did was we engaged him and we told him these are the exact design and materials that is going to see within the digital model and in the actual installation, fabrication of this prefabricated bathroom unit. So almost immediately we can get approval from this session, and then of course we still continue to produce the shop drawing. But having said that, we know that in principle we have the approval, we can start the fabrication of all these elements and installation items, right? And like I mentioned, I think in Boustead or in the organization, we don't believe just leaving the digital model or the building information to the BIM team. We like to engage. So there is a term that we use in Boustead. We call it democratizing BIM and digital technology. So if you can see here, the digital model are not only to get approval, but we also engage our internal client or stakeholder, in this case, our engineers, our operation guys. So before installation, they can use the VR headset and understand what kind of elements they are going to build or they are going to install on site. So this gives them an idea what they are going to see on site later on, and at the same time we allow them to embrace technology and engage them at another level to make sure that they know that there are certain platforms for them to use and utilize throughout the project for this implementation. And as I mentioned, we also conduct workshops. We empower them to navigate and review the BIM. I think the ethos here that we want to share with our project stakeholder is this digital model does not just belong to the BIM team or to the digital guy who create these models, but it belongs to the project team, and all stakeholders have a responsibility. So we need to give this knowledge and empower them with the knowledge to navigate and review the BIM model. By doing so, we allow them to have full confidence that the accuracy or the integrity of the BIM model is there for them to use for their work. And as mentioned just now, from the digital model which have been coordinated and approved earlier, we create a fabrication drawing. So this is how it looks like, and all our drawings are embedded with a QR code. With this QR code, it allows us to access these drawings on tablets or smartphones. So again, here the point that I want to put across is mobility. Imagine now that as what earlier mentioned, during this period of pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, if we still rely on hard copy paper drawings, I think we may face a lot of disruption in terms of the workflow. So now with smartphones, QR code, it allows us to access all this information in terms of easily at the press of our finger or button. Visualization, I think these are some images, example of how we use digital or building information model to show the exact material and getting approval for design. And we have what we call BIM to field verification using tablets, iPads on site, where the BIM coordinators and the engineers and the site coordinators, they work hand in hand, making sure all these installation and measurements are all as what is being coordinated and designed in the building information model. So they use it as a reference and they validate it on site. We also use drones, Boustead eye in the sky. We term it, most people, they mention about drones, they talk about just collecting images or aerial view, but for us, we want to move a step further, not only collecting point clouds and data, we also are in the pipeline to integrate drones inspection with BCA Conquest using artificial intelligence, meaning they can identify those non-compliance according to BCA Conquest during the inspection. So what it means that those hard to reach area or areas that have a lot of safety risks can be inspected using the drone, So we are relying on technology to do inspection moving ahead. And of course, as-built verification with scanning and AI, artificial intelligence. Recently, we partner with one of a Singapore startup that is based in Amsterdam. So what we did was, during the early part of our implementation in terms of validation of this digital model and point cloud files, we understand there's a pain point. What are the pain points? That most of the times, the pain points in terms of manually looking out for discrepancy and inaccuracy, you still have to visually run through the model with the point cloud files. But now, with the AI platform that we have on board, it allows us to automate that whole process. So first, of course, we need to collect point cloud files using drone scans, using 3D LiDAR scan. Second, we combine these both files, both the digital files and the digital model or building information model and the 3D design model. and then and the point cloud files onto a platform using AI to verify, and then almost immediately or automatically all these issues can be identified. And then what it means that you have a process in between progressively that you are updating the model according to what is being built on site. An image of point cloud files that is being collected during construction. So imagine if you if we put it in layman term or previously in a conventional way, an overlaying of a 2D plans with images. But right now it is using a point cloud files. So if there's any discrepancy, what is being built versus in the digital model, you shift the building information model or the digital model accordingly to what is being collected using the 3D scan and also the drones captured earlier. A quick video again of how the guys are using the scanning on site. Maybe I just speed up a bit. Right, so if you can see, I think these guys, they are actually the beam managers, the beam lead, and the beam coordinators, moving ahead to as part of our, upskilling our guys. The beam guys, they are not just only down there making sure the beam models are model accurately. They are also involved in making sure the validation of this model on site. So they are empowered to use new equipment such as this laser scan, and it's not actually a rocket science to use some of these technologies. So it helps them to understand better how the site works, and at the same time integrate with the BIM model. So these are the guys who are involved in this project. You can see, right? Maybe I just move on to the next slide. Right, as I mentioned just now, we have Lean methodology. We use Lean Plan Do. It's a platform. Again, I'm not here to share software or to sell software, but again, this is another digital platform or solution that allows us to understand the project better in terms of transparency and where are the bottleneck. So again, conventionally, no background does not show any cause of delay. If we use this type of Gantt chart, no learning value. But now with Lean Plan Do, what we can see here, we can understand where are the delay and the actual implementation and the plan implementation, what we can do, what we should do, and moving ahead, why we did not do. So, of course, like I mentioned just now, talking about project transparency, we can identify and engage the bottleneck, or this is not to blame, but to understand the reason of delay. And of course, with that, we can manage or anticipate them, and we can move on to progress towards completing the project. So with a platform like this, a digital platform like this, it allows us to have a very transparent project overview. And this is how the interface looks like. It is quite, friendly and user-friendly in terms of the user interface, easy to use. Of course, we initially have a lot of challenges in terms of implementation. But again, I think by having a workshop like this, as what I mentioned earlier, it helps to minimize the gaps and make people understand why we implement things as such. Because the important thing about managing or implementing this solution, you need a collaborative spirit first. You need to make sure that the key stakeholders are involved. And of course, with that, data being input correctly for you to collect the data. Digital inspection forms. Previously, we have 5 steps. We walk, we take note, capture image, upload the files, and create forms. But now we have just 3 steps. We walk the site using the tablets and the iPads or your smartphone, and then the forms are already pre-created and pre-loaded on your solutions or digital platforms. So again, these are some of our the user interface of how it looks like on the site and on the tablet. These are our project managers, our QA/QC. They use these for to inspect. They use these to lodge reports within the project itself. And again, we collect data. I must say that it become very important for us to collect data to ensure that the people who's responsible for each forms and inspection are replying back on time and response promptly. We have digital inspection tracking. What it means is we want to track 4 status here: the shop drawing approval status of our fabrication or precast element, fabrication status, transport to site status, and installation to site status. So these 4 steps, we integrate all these into our digital model. I'll show you a quick video of how we do this. So QR code being the base of this technology, we push this data into a platform, and then these data can be pushed back into the building information model to show the status of each precast element, whether they have been installed or yet to be approved, are they yet to be on site, or they are already on site. So you can see the color changes in this video. Let me just fast forward a bit. Yeah, so as you can see, once we push the data, right, all these status of the precast element can be shown in different colors based on the status. So what's next for us? I mentioned for our digital transformation journey, these are what I mentioned, 3 holy trinity, if I may say: the people, the process, and the technology. In fact, as part of the process or the technology, data form the base of all this implementation. And of course, without building information model, we cannot execute what you have just seen earlier. And with all this data, what we are trying to do, we try to integrate them and making sure there's a seamless integration between all platform and solutions. And yes, I've come to the end of my presentation, and what I did just now cannot be done with all these good people, the team who are involved behind the scene and executing the work. So with that, thank you, everyone. I'd like to end my presentation now.
Thank you, Khalil. Please bear with us for a while. We have some technical glitch with the mic. Okay. Thank you, Khalil.
Can you hear me?
Can. Now can. All right.
Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry for the delay. I talked so much and I didn't realize that I was actually on mute. Classic. Okay. Thank you again, Khalil, for the very exciting introduction. I was actually trying to put a point across that this COVID-19 is really a setback for everybody. And we definitely must take the opportunity to become better. So the point about bringing beam to site is really very real. How do we get rid of that piece of paper and have everything digital? So it's both upstream and downstream. To have things all digitized. To convenient the guy downstream. A lot of things that Khalil presented just now really needs a consultant. And of course, me being a consultant would want to try to sell the idea that is really pretty important that if you can digitize early, then people below will enjoy the fruits of the data. Okay, I think I probably talked too much. Chris will be next. Chris is a BIM manager from BHCC, and he has 10 years experience and looks after the digital side of things as far as BHCC is concerned. And today he's going to share with us JTC CleanTech Blk B. So Chris, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Chris. Sorry, cannot control. Okay, sorry, cannot control. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Chris. Working at the BHCC construction. So this project name is CleanTech CD2B inside the CleanTech Park along with the Nanyang Avenue nearby the NTU. So this is a project location. Okay, this is a sorry, can control no. Okay, this is a 5-story industry building include this is a 5-story. Sorry. This is a 5-story industry building. Include 1 basement and 2 additional mezzanine floors. Total GFA is 22.3 thousand square meter. Okay, for the design. This project has adopted a 4-stage digitalized approach through IDD towards the design, construction, fabrication, and iframe. So at the design stage, we apply digital platform for all ARCHI, MAP, and CIS tree. Okay, also we use the real-time model coordination software with the cloud-based server, so everyone can access to the cloud and then study the models. Okay, for construction, okay, this is our current site progress. You can see here is so far we finished the 4-story already, so we are going to do the roof. The controls. Okay. Based on the actual work and the spec requirements, so we generate this overall project delivery roadmap. For this project, start from the planning, design coordination, and sub-drawing, progress monitoring, procurement, construction, and then end of the handover and as-built model submission. So all the detail you can look through from here, and it's quite easily. Because of the time limit, so I don't explain one by one. Okay, before I project the IDD details, so let me quickly go through the construction work challenges for this project. The first one is a site access constraint. The following is a tight work spacing, and this project very close to the CD2A building. And then the next is a wildlife movement around the CleanTech park. So in our project, you can see a lot of wildlife around the site. So our IDD implementation was based on the project requirement and the challenges. So because of the site access constraint and the traffic control is very difficult. So the first challenge is overall site deliveries. So a good planning is very important and necessary for our project. Refer to the drawing and also collect for the design models. So we finish our construction model and then master program. With the further development, so we issue to site our site utilization plan, sequence simulation, and then the safety education for the site project team for discussion. So we try to limit the discrepancy for the works. Okay, this is our site utilization plan based on the actual model and then actual site condition. One is a layout plan, one is a 3D view. We also combine our tower crane to here. So it's very clear for the site to monitor the works. Okay, here is a short video for the sequence. This construction sequence will based on the planning schedule and then the actual work schedule. So far, the planning work is based on the actual date. Okay, let me drop off. This is a piling stage. So far, it's a 4-story. Sorry, because difficult to control the video. Okay, so I dropped this sequence simulation. For the safety simulation, we based on the site actual condition and then the safety guidance. So we create some simulation videos, play on the safety induction course for the workers. So here is some simple videos here. So this one is for the worker eye height. So we create a simulation to show to the workers how the work sequence and then what requirement they need to follow. So this one is for the slab opening. Okay, this opening don't have the barricade, so it's an accident. So we need the barricade and then the signage. So those videos can show to the worker so they can take attention more than the conventional ways. Also, it's quite clear for them. Okay. The next challenges is our working site very tight. The next challenge is our working site very tight and close to the CD2A building. So our solution is just-in-time logistic arrangement for the delivery, and then coordination sequence properly, and close monitoring delivery schedule with all subcon and then the suppliers. So this is our platform used for the just-in-time logistic arrangement. So we finish our construction model, and then we prepare the information on the element for the status checking, and then we export the IFC model, and then upload to the platform. So this is a workflow. And then the QR code is used for this project. So all concrete precast element status will tracking from the fabrication yard to the construction site. So during this duration, so the QR code is very important and then need to scan by the relevant person. Okay. After the scan finish, the real-time information report will automatically update on the dashboard, so everyone can access here and then checking the latest information. This is a simple workflow for the coordination, also refer to the tender drawing and spec and design model. We finish our coordination model and fabrication model. So use this one with our visualization, class detection, and then project communications. Use the VR all latest model will combine and look through on the technical meeting and the coordination meeting, find out the discrepancy easily and faster. After the meeting, the comments on the meeting will automatically generate and send to the relevant parties and then feedback from them. Okay. For some critical path, one of the key challenges is guiding the construction team to have a quick visualizations. So using this one will help the engineer to resolve the class detection before the actual construction works. Okay, this is a short video for the visualization. So walk through. This is overall our site building. Okay, here is a drop-off area. Here is an entrance lobby. Okay, this is a lift lobby. So all the finishes we select by the consultant, and then we create the model here, so we can show to the consultant and client, so they can decide to use this one. So we can confirm the finishes material and then the pack quickly and faster. So this is a toilet, first story. Okay, I will stop the video. Okay, for the cloud detection, this one also a short video, so show how we do the visual checking using the using the VR. So we create the different color for different trade. So here you can see very clearly between the different surfaces. So here is a trunking and a class with the pipe. Then here's a pipe class with the key elements. This is from this store. And then this is a clear height not based on the standard. So here all need to update. Okay. Okay, class detection report, just now I mentioned after the technical meeting and the coordination meeting, so all the class report will automatically generate and then sent to the consultant and the client immediately. Is very fast. Okay, for the project communication, so all the document will apply and receive through the CDE platform. So you can know how many documents submit and then the status for each documents. For our submission and then the approve, so we also go through from the CDE. So refer to the workflow or smart monitoring system use. So this one not only monitor but remind all the parties for the next course. So go through the CDE so everybody can know the status and then the next step he need to do. For ISB also, so we submit through the CVE after we complete all the model based on the requirements. Means we fill in all the information required by the FM department. So we submit through the CVE. Site physical work and the site physical work progress monitoring and the reporting. This workflow show how we done this part using the digitalizations. The first one is detail monitoring. Detail monitoring through this software or this platform. Everyone need to do can assess this schedule and update daily work, actual work done for daily, and then they need to plan the schedule for the next week. This one is easily monitoring and then look ahead the schedule. Tracking the site progress, we're using the drone and the CCTV. Because some area the CCTV cannot cover, so we're using the drone to cover those areas, and then the drone also can easily and very clear to show the overall site progress. Okay, this is a short video took from the drone. Because the drone camera is a high quality, so you can see very clear which area and doing which works. And then do the worker follow the safety guide for the construction works. And then also very quickly and barely working, and then the overall site sequence. This is the overall site sequence. Okay. Okay. For the safety inspection, we're using the CDE forms. So all the form we're using here, and then we assign the people to in charge the forms. So once we got the notification from the client and the consultant, so this portion need to fix and then close it. So this is a workflow for the forms. Only three steps. Quality inspection form also, we also through the CDE. So the workflow also similar with safety forms. So this one is easily to checking and recording all the events happen on the site. For the permit to work, we're using the OA system. This system is fully produced by our company. So we're also using this system for most of our company projects. Okay. Because of the time limit, so my presentation will stop here. Thank you for your listening, and then thank you, BCA and then ACES to give me the opportunity to do the presentation. So last is hope you're safe and stay home. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, thanks, Chris, for the presentation. I realized there's a common thing between the two. They are using Lean Plan Do. I also have a bit of experience on that. I found it not to sell the software, but I thought it's really a bit of a paradigm shift, in terms of project management. So instead of relying on that trusty old project manager to do up Microsoft project chart, we now rely on a rather young chap I remember for my project, that updates the program, and also ask all the various trades, all the persons, all the foremans and people to go into the system and key in the project. So the outcome is that it's very real. So it's a bit of a shift actually. So and I feel that it's pretty productive and lets you understand exactly what's happening on site. Okay. Next up is Andy Wong. Andy Wong is from Gammon. He's the GM of a subsidiary, I believe, of Gammon called Digital G Limited. So Andy is a chartered structural engineer based in Hong Kong with nearly 20 years of experience in design, management, and construction operation. So he leads the Digital G, as I mentioned, which helps Gammon push towards digital transformation. So today we are very pleased to invite him to share some of the real examples that Gammon went through in this process. Andy?
Hello, everyone. So thank you, BCA, for the invitation. So now I press control for the PowerPoint. So I'm from, as I mentioned, Digital G, from the digital subsidiary of Gammon. So Gammon Construction is a company of 50 years old that started our digital journey many years ago. So today I would say that we are proud to tell everyone that Gammon is a digital contractor. That digital workflow has become blood of all our projects in Hong Kong and in Singapore. So Digital G as a digital business unit try to push the bar even higher. So we work with different startups to bring even newer technologies to our company and also to the wider construction market. So as to prepare. Okay, so we provide Digital G digital construction technology to the industry to accelerate the digitalization of the project delivery, which exactly match the IDD theme of Singapore. So we have a vision that we want to have a unified digital system for all the site operations and construction equipment. So to do this, we will need to use a lot of sensors to capture the data on site, and eventually we can control the equipment on site. So this is our vision. So as you all know, that safety is a huge concern for the whole construction industry around the world. So by using more digital technologies, we hope to automate many of our operations and data capturing and recording process, so as to reduce the number of workers and the man hours on site, to reduce the risk and to improve the efficiency of our work. So that's why we work on digital technologies. As many of you are project managers, definitely you will love sensors because it will tell you information that you cannot easily be taken from the physical world. But how we start our digital journey, we don't digitalize randomly. Normally, we start with the most commonly found things on site. So today, I would like to share with you some sensors and digital technology used in 4 areas. For example, concrete, site condition, energy, and also a digital platform. So the first technology that I would like to share is about this concrete strength sensor. So traditionally, after you pour the concrete for a construction building, you need to take concrete cubes so that you can crush the cube and tell the concrete strength before you proceed to the next step. So this sensor basically automate the crushing of cubes, tell you the concrete strength real time. The breakthrough of the technology is on the IoT part. So how the concrete strength is told from the sensors is based on the existing code called ASTM C1074. So which is called the maturity method. Basically, it transforms the internal temperature of the concrete to strength. So this part is a long-established technology which is widely accepted in other parts of the world like UK and US. And Hong Kong government started to accept this technology also. So now we are trying to bring this technology to Singapore, hope to improve the productivity by 30% for all the concreting projects.
At Converge,
let me show you the video about this technology first.
So we created Concrete DNA, your platform for analysis, prediction, and collaboration on your concrete pours. It's powered by this guy, Converge Signal. It's small and powerful. It sends real-time concrete strength data to Concrete DNA. It means you're going to optimize costs, strike faster, guarantee safety, and avoid delays. All of this whilst reducing your carbon footprint. It's good to be the good guy. And because Concrete DNA is in the cloud, teamwork has never been easier. Anyone can access the data from anywhere at any time. Okay, but how simple is it to set up? That simple. And it's not just easy, it works. Concrete DNA has already helped build structures up to 30% faster, which is why some of the leading contractors around the world have been working with us and reaping the benefits. But concrete is just the foundation. Let's think bigger. We're building a network of sensors that form construction DNA, the future of the job site. Tracking prefabricated assets, scheduling crane lifts, monitoring structural and environmental factors, all to optimize efficiency and sustainability. Construction DNA links data from sensors with BIM models, construction programs, and cost data to create a real-time digital twin of the job site. Join us to build the future, a world of interconnected sensors and an intelligent data platform where they all converge.
As you see from the video, concrete sensor is just one of the sensor technology that this company is doing. And we have done some trials for the concrete sensors in Singapore. So I'll share a few experience of 2 projects, Havelock Station MLT project. You can see the installation of the sensors. Basically, before the concreting works, you tie the sensors to the rebars. and then that's it. So again, no special skills are required, and the sensors and the infrastructure are designed to be robust enough to work well in this environment. Before you calculate the concrete strength from the sensors, you need to do a calibration in the lab for that particular concrete mix. So we did that in this project. And he quickly shows so in this hard station, the red dots are the sensors location that represents the strength of that particular element. You can see the lower left-hand corner, how the installation of the sensors are put in the slabs. The result is that we see that basically the concrete reached 25 MPa in just 30-something hours in average. And we also compare the cubes result, which is more or less similar. And we found that to reach the concrete full strength of 40 MPa, it is just actually less than 4 days, compared to the contract requirements of having crushing cubes on 7 days. So actually there are 3 days saving and improving productivity in terms of proceeding to the next step once the concrete reaches strength. Another trial that we did is for the Chiang Airport project. There are 2 concrete mixes in this particular case. So we did a trial specifically. We didn't put the sensors to the real structural elements. Instead, we actually particularly compare the sensor data with the cube data. So basically, this graph demonstrates that the accuracy between sensor and the cubes are within 10%. So it is actually very accurate and representative equivalent to the cube strength result. So apart from the concrete strength sensors, I would like to talk about another type of sensor is this type of wireless site monitoring sensors. So for all the excavation works, tunneling works, and even just general construction works, you have to send people outside to take records about the tilt, vibration, groundwater level, settlement, cracks, whatever that currently is done by human. Basically, these sensors to automate this process to capture the site data real time and automatically, and then you can just see your data when you sit in the office and at home. So to set up these sensors on site, it comprises a sensor itself and a gateway that there's the box that you saw, and also an online monitoring platform we call it Gammon. Basically, it's just a login and use your iPad, you can see the data. So it's applicable to any types of construction projects, and it works fine with any kinds of construction harsh environment. And the battery lasts for 2 to 3 years because of the breakthrough of the lithium-ion batteries technologies. So now, actually, from this platform, you can see that these kind of data, tilt, movements, vibration, groundwater cracks, whatever, automatically pushed to this platform real time. So you don't need to send people outside to record this data anymore. There's a case study from Hong Kong. So in this excavation project, this is a 20-meter deep excavation. We installed more than 100 sensors to this white ELS steel struts that supports the deep excavation. So, and the project managers on site, actually, they can just see from the lower right-hand corner on their phone the strut loading real time from the phone. So there's anything like if the likelihood of any collapse of excavation happens, the project managers can see it real time. Or if no significant events happen, even you can tell you which steel struts are under load or underutilized, so that you can consider earlier removal of those struts to improve the efficiency and of the site operation. The third technology that I would like to share is about this hybrid reality platform. Basically, it's a website, a digital platform that stores 2 types of 3D information, which is one is drone photogrammetry 3D models. The other is building information models. So everyone, you don't need a special software on your computer. You just log in and you can see the drone and the beam models on your iPad or phone and laptop anywhere. So drone technology, yeah, previous speakers already speak about that. But how to see the drone data is the invention and the advancement of the technology of this hybrid reality platform. So it can make you very easily readily available to all the users. You don't need any special software. From this, you can compare your site progress in a drone taken by drone in a 3D view on different dates, so that you can manage your site progress more effectively. You can do measurement, line measurement area, volume on this platform, so that you can, and also you can also cut sections from the 3D views. You can combine your IoT sensors data and show it in this same platform. So imagine that you have installed the previous sensor that I mentioned. From this platform, you can just log in and see the site movements and the concrete strength data, also real time from this digital platform. The fourth technology and the last one that I want to mention is not really a sensors or digital website, which is an energy and environmental technology. This is an lithium-ion battery-based energy storage system contained in a container-sized compartment, so as to replace diesel generators on site. So this is a breakthrough of the technologies. It's an invention. So basically, with this, you can power the heavy equipment, even like a tower crane on your site. So you don't need a diesel generator. So as you can imagine, it does not have black smoke. It does not need to refuel. So the uptime is close to 100% because there is no downtime. You don't need to do any maintenance or refueling works. And also, because of the saving of the diesel fuels, you can see the bottom row of this table. The operation cost is 77% reduction compared to traditional diesel generators. Not to mention that it is almost quiet, so you can work 24 hours with this silent machine. And also, of course, the carbon footprint reduction is huge because no fossil fuels is involved in this operation. So I finished my sharing of these new technologies today. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Andy. I think it's really pretty inspiring, you know, the level of technology adoption, so as Gammon is concerned. So it's really something that we can learn from. I think what we can do now is to jump into our Q&A session, and there are quite a lot of typed in questions right in front of me. So I believe also the hand raising option is up ready, right?
Yes, it's ready.
Yeah. So if you have, I'll give priority to those that put up their hand, just to make the webinar more interesting. Yeah. So I think I have one. Okay, I have one there. Mr. So.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. We can hear you.
Can you hear?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for all the speaker, the PC and the ACES represented this. My question to Mr. Khalil. Mr. Khalil. Okay, let's say just now you are sharing about your planning the sequence simulation. Just now I saw some video. So, Mr. For one of the constructions, okay, basically we start from the basement piling, then the concrete casting, then the facade installation, then maybe installation, then lay down finally the architectural work. So Mr. Alexia, for this sequence simulation, I mean that you are planning, how accurate, okay, you are planning can be reflected on actual construction process based on your complete project experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think to answer your question, can you guys hear me? Can, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. To answer your question, right, Mr. So, okay, it is accurate because to a certain extent, what we do, I think if you look at conventional practice, what we do is we don't actually integrate the schedule into a B model. So this schedule still is being created using whether your Microsoft project or with that you need a planner. So what we did was we worked together with our planner in a construction project, and then we integrate the timeline into the B model. So if you talk about the accuracy, it is as accurate if you start using the schedule as conventionally in using your PowerPoint or integrated into your PowerPoint. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Okay, we have another gentleman, Wee Kun. Mr. Chua Wee Kun, yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Sorry, I pressed wrongly, sorry.
Oh, okay. It's okay. I have quite a few questions over here that we can just jump into. Okay, the first one is to Khalil. How long you take from this is from Mr. Lim Eng Boon. How long you take from zero to first construction model approved by all parties to start the site work? Basically, how long did you take to produce that working construction model before you can start work? Yeah.
Okay, so progressively, I think if we look at the scale of this presentation just now, the project that I presented, we took less than a month because we already have a base model that we inherit from the consultant. So what we did was we just enhance it further to make sure that it can be used for our construction utilization or activities. That's what the question was being asked just now. So roughly it's about a month. I think maybe just to share a bit with the participants or the attendees, the ICP just now that I shared, the intensive collaboration period, which is to validate the B model that we received from the consultant, took us about a week, full 5 days, working days. So with that, meaning we have validated and then we can continue to use the model that we inherit from the consultant. So effectively, if you ask me, roughly it's about a month for us to have a good model for construction.
1 month is pretty short.
Yep.
Okay, I just want to maybe say a few things here. I think
Sure.
Contractors will probably be saying that, oh, come on, the consultant B model is not that accurate, So I mean, of course, the consultant will try their best to squeeze in as good a B model as possible for the contractor to use. Yeah, Khalil's smiling already. So yeah, but definitely a lot of things are still uncertain as far as design is concerned. I think your site, for all the subbies to come in and contribute towards the BIM model, I honestly doubt that can happen for the contractor. You know, so it is a growing model. I don't think 1 month is probably a very realistic time, to be honest. Unless you are very sure that you know maybe your gang of subbies are always those that you always work with. So maybe that's possible. Maybe Chris and Andy, you want to share, you know, your experience with that in terms of how long can you do you need to come up with something decent?
Okay, for my project, I think how fast this construction model can finish depends how big the project, and then do we have the design model from the consultant. I think the design model from consultant is quite important for us to further develop the construction model. So I think cannot fully complete the construction model during 1 month, 2 months. I think it's progressively to finish the construction and fabrication models, because design always change and something. So, but I think within 2 months we can finish within 1 month we need to finish minimal 2-level construction models because for the site works.
Mm-hmm.
Within 2 months we can finish the whole building, the construction model based on
yeah, I think that there's no clear-cut answer, I would say, because there are so many factors, right? I mean, client changing, engaging with the subbies, so it's really hard to even pinpoint a certain timeline. Yeah.
Yes.
Andy, any
agree.
thoughts?
Yeah, agree. There's no specific timeline there.
Yeah. Okay, so we go on to the next question. Nobody is raising their hand, perhaps a bit shy. I mean, the last time I was involved in a webinar, quite a few. So never mind, there are quite a lot of questions from the type-in platform. Okay, anyway, the next one is from Miss Lian. Okay, she asks, does the software used for monitoring shop drawings, fabrication, and installation link up with the BIM model to reflect status accordingly? Maybe, actually it's addressed to Khalil, but I mean, feel free to answer.
Yep. Okay, yeah, to answer your question, yes, to a certain extent. Just to have an understanding, when she mean, what does she mean by that? Let me just look at the question again. Does the software monitoring of shop drawing?
Yeah,
I think she's referring to the CDE. CDE is we refer to as a common data environment where we submit our shop drawing for approval. So yes, to a certain extent, it reflects the status of each approval status and monitoring of shop drawings. Does that answer her question?
I believe so. So basically, it's linked up to kind of reflect that, you know,
yes,
you want to see the end of the tunnel, right? Sometimes
right.
consultant, the endless stream of shop drawings, and we really don't know when the shop drawings will end. So I guess if you are able to link them up with the BIM model, at least you can foresee the resources that you need to plan for as far as clearing them are concerned. Yeah. Okay. Yes, we have a business. Mr. Kiam Yo Eng, you have a question?
I do have. Can you hear me?
Yeah, very good.
Okay,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to ask Mr. Andy on the perspective of the lead iron power storage energy storage system that is quite unique in the market. And with that capacity that he has mentioned, is there any elaboration on the system setup inside the container? There will be. These are something new in a market that Singapore might not have. Is this system implemented in Hong Kong?
Yes, this is an invention we did in Hong Kong. The first 2 units are actually on last year, October. But currently there are 10 units for different customers being used in Hong Kong. So we are trying to bring to Singapore in coming third quarter for this unit. So inside the container, basically it's just a lithium-ion battery modules. You can imagine a few hundreds of these kind of modules packed inside the container. So the technology, you may think it is similar to Tesla's Powerwall, if you know what that is. So similar technology, but the use in construction site is almost first in the world. So this is interesting. Now it's being used very smoothly in Hong Kong. So that's why we were trying to bring it to Singapore as soon as possible.
I believe that you need a time to set up with the authorities before you can implement, am I right? So it's something new that it will reduce the impact of carbon emission, all these things. But I believe that it's something new for us to learn. So thanks for your answer. Maybe we will explore further from there. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. Next, we have Mr. Nilesh Jahav. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thanks everyone for the presentation. Very insightful. I just have more of a business question, you can say. The question is, all the tools that you mentioned, they seem to be developed internally within your company, or they have been also used internally for your benefit, which is good. I think you have different clients also, or your own industry to go further. My question is, are these tools available to the wider industry? Meaning, are they available to other people? And if yes, then what kind of business model? Is it like a software license, or is it a consulting service? How do you make these tools available to other people? Thanks.
Mark, maybe I can answer this first.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Nilesh, for this question. Very good question. I think based on our experience, actually the software that are presented earlier on, they are off the shelf, meaning to say you can get it from the vendor directly. But I think that the challenge that we face is trying to integrate different platforms on a similar common data environment. I think that's one of the challenges the industry or my organization we are facing. So in Boustead, we do not actually create our own platform or software. We work with industry players and of course, not forgetting our local startup. As I mentioned just now, I think there's a lot of question with regards to the S-build verification, AI. So we use AI. AI is the one, artificial intelligence is at the back of that technology. So if you can see, these are widely used in other industry also, not only within the built environment, but also in the finance, if you talk about other industry in the marine, shipping, and also other engineering industry. So to simply say, this platform or software are available on the market. You need to research and you need to make sure that they can customize to your existing workflow, and there needs to be integration, allow you to integrate with other platform or your work process. At the same time, I think in terms of commercial, yes, some of them, they do provide consulting service, but at the same time, you do also have the option to just buy the software and use it as a user. So I think we need, as an industry, I think my personal opinion, we need to continue. There seems to be a convergence between when we talk about Industry 4.0 technologies such as big data, AI, machine learning. We need to continue to upskill and learn all these new technology, embrace them, and not just rely on software provider 100% to feed us the platform. So we need to know the base of all this technology to integrate with our work process. You know, sometimes tweaking of simple process, just now if you ask me, we use a plug-in from Excel to Revit, and you can change the color of those status individually without the need to buy you know, those fanciful software or platform in the market. Right. I hope it answered your question, Nilesh.
Yeah, thanks, Khalil. I think it's good. I think my question was more about you have got some good knowledge now by using different softwares, and it seems like you integrate it within your company, which is very good, because then you can also deliver a very good solution. But the next step is, do you then offer this integrated solution to somebody else? And that was
good question. At this point of time, there's no plans to do that. The idea is to deliver our project I think our bread and butter is still construction, building. So we still focus on delivering the end product, which is the building. So the idea is we can, complete the project on time and be more productive. And if we can save some money along the way, I think that would be a bonus.
Andy, how about your side? I think there must be a very good reason why Gammon actually set up, Digital G. Is there an angle from your side, to help others and, of course, for a fee?
I think it's because it's a separate business unit, so that we can move even faster. Imagine that if you are within a big corporate, you're still bound by other project limitations that you limit the development of the digital technology, both within the company and also in the whole industry. So as a separate unit, we can move faster. We can work with other startup companies more effectively and flexibly on the future technologies, like these IoT sensors. So we can work with them.
Okay.
More.
So it's not really something that a consultancy firm, if you like, that you are trying to set up to provide solutions.
Not our focus. I would say it's focus on the application.
Yeah. I hope that answers your question, Nilesh.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can go on to the next one. I think. Is there when should we be stopping this Q&A?
We target to stop around 12:45. Depends on anyone raise hand or ask questions lah.
Okay, Ken. All right. Just for you guys' knowledge, whatever you type in, we will try our best to clear up. It may be after the end of the webinar. So there are some questions that are just straightforward answers. So I will try not to tackle them. So I will try to pick those that has a bit of discussion spectrum to it. Okay, maybe this one is pretty general. So this from Federico Ramos. So he asks, what is the level of implementation of digital fabrication, and how as the digital delivery facilitate the transition of the industry from the traditional heavy labor one to one that is more or less off-site and with use of technology and usage of highly specialized labor and robotics. So I think he's trying to understand, in your eyes, what level are we at the moment? I mean, you guys are definitely at a certain level already, but as if you take a step back and look at the industry, where are we? And how promising is it for us to really fully adopt technology to improve our pretty traditional construction industry, which probably haven't changed for the last 100 years in a lot of ways?
So if you look at digital journey, is so there are a few steps. First is data collection, so data collection through digital means. And second is data analytics. Third is to act on insights from the data. And then for more future, it's about using AI to control our site. So I think we are still in the first stage of data collection. So the apps, the inspection apps that other speakers mentioned is exactly for this purposes to switch from manual to digital. And my sense is also on this journey, is also on this step, is to capture data in a digital means rather than a manual. So I think the industry in general is in this stage. We are still far from having the later stage of the digital journey that brings real values to our construction sites. Yeah.
Khalil, your point of view?
Yeah. So maybe I'd like to share a bit about that journey of transformation. Maybe we can, I think one of the challenge that we face on the ground as a contractor, we want to leap or we want to change from using a paper-based drawing to a digital platform or digital drawing or digital model, as I mentioned earlier. So in terms of mobility, we don't just use leave things on our hard drive, on our local drive. I think if we look in terms of this period where we are facing this pandemic, COVID-19, data cannot be accessed easily if we start using on-premise server. That's where cloud platform becomes very critical, where we don't, it can be easily accessed at any point of time. Whether we use it for digital fabrication, this information must flow, the data must flow throughout the project timeline, right from design all the way to construction and complete handover. So that's my thought on this. So try to minimize the use of hard copy paper. And again, if you ask me my take, we use a 3D based B model, which is visually is much more pleasing, easy to get more information. But again, if we look, there is still a requirement for us to produce 2D drawings, for example. So it kind of a 2 step forward and 1 step backward, what we are facing at this point of time. That's the current situation we are in also.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with the first two speakers in terms of data collection. So like I mentioned earlier, right, it's really about, you know, upstream, how we set the tone, right, in terms of digitizing our information across. So if we start at a certain level, I guess the contractor just simply need to make use of the data. And I think the contractors are more than matured, you know, to understand that making use of data to make decision is definitely the way to go. You know, we have even for our company, we have young chaps that are kind of, you know, they don't think like us anymore. You know, my era, there's this whole bunch of data that is in front of him. Then they will start to think automation and all that kind of thing to make use of the data to make their life easier so that they can spend time learning more things. So I think contractor definitely will have that bunch of guys that will help push us forward. So I'm rather optimistic about the situation and the industry at the moment. So, but it takes time lah. It takes time for us, so-called the management level, to sometimes, you know, take in a suggestion and make sure that we you know, take that leap of faith. Yeah. Chris, do you have anything to add?
For the digital delivery, I think so far, I think in market we have few platforms for these things. I think no one can fully cover all the information and the digital in one platform. But I think with the further development, I think maybe the platform can more and more powerful to improve all the information in one platform. I think in future,
yeah, I think we are generally quite optimistic about what is good to come. Okay, maybe maybe one or two more questions. So I have this one which is pretty general. It says, Khalil, in your opinion, how does Lean Plan do benefit the project consultant in managing contractors? Okay, to manage you basically.
Very good. Maybe I answer this question, Mark. So yeah, to manage us, I think effectively, like I said, this is a collaboration tools. It allows us to have a greater transparency of the project overview in the case of Lean Plan Do, where we see if the data are being input correctly, you can see where are the bottleneck and who caused the bottleneck. Again, this is not to blame or playing the blame game, but to understand what caused the delay. Sometimes, most of the time, in fact, the contractors are being blamed for the delay on site. But some of the delay could be due to decision by consultant in this case, where they do not approve a certain drawings or design. So with Lean Plan Do, we have a greater transparency, even to a certain extent, the owner themselves has an overview of who caused this delay. And the idea is not to blame, but to identify the risk and to identify the delay and manage the delay so that we can progress together as a team, as a project team, to complete the project on time, on target, and with the correct cost, with the on time, with the correct cost. I hope that answer.
Yeah, I think so. Chris, you are also a user, right, for Lean 2? Any insights?
Yes, I think this Lean 2 is a micro tracking lah. And then the important thing is we need to update the actual daily work on the Lean 2. So you input the correct information, so the correct information will export from the Lean 2.
Yeah, so like what I mentioned previously, I do have a little bit of experience with Lean 2. It's really a very micro level kind of way of project management. So like I said, the traditional way of managing through a Gantt chart produced by just that one person with plenty of experience is no longer, valid, because he is only one guy. So the success of this whole program really needs everybody going into it, get their hands dirty, and type in whatever updates that they need to type in, for that program. So as you can see, the project manager will then have that information to make calculated decision, and also identify, like what you say, which are the critical things that needs to be decided. So I kind of believe this software. I'm not sure whether there are any alternatives to that software, but definitely something to consider in project management. Okay. Okay. Next one, probably the last one, which is a very general one. We have Mr. Lim Pohok. So he actually put up a statement saying that, okay, we have been emphasizing a lot on technology and digital on the management team level. So how this modern way of transformation can be passed down to the ground? And he feels that it's not as simple as what we upper management staff thinks lah. So how are the because we are getting labor from various sources, and they may not be along the same wavelength as us. So how do we bridge this and make our ground guys as so-called savvy as possibly can? Maybe Andy.
Okay, maybe
Khalil, you can go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, again, like I mentioned, I think in my organization we foresee this challenge, and in fact, it's an ongoing challenge for us. So the only way is through education, through awareness. That's the reason why we have our mobile digital hub that can be stationed on site, where all these new technology can be shared and can create awareness. With that, we conduct workshops. So downstream, we work with our engineers, and these engineers, they also share their knowledge down to at the supervisor or the workers level, where we try as much as possible to integrate some of these new technology to our guys on site. So to a certain extent, it's not easy, but again, it is a journey for us. We have taken the first step, which is we issued our tablets or iPad to site guys. So these site guys, they will use these, and hopefully there is a effect, cascading effect downstream, to see that, hey, look here, instead of using paper forms or inspection forms or hard copy forms, they are now using digital form, which helps them to become more productive. And once people see the value of this, I think it will become a natural. It's natural for them to embrace and adopt technology downstream. But quite sensitive, I think. To be frank, looking at our labor where we have a lot of labor from other countries. So there needs to be some integration with in terms of managing the expectation. And also at the same time, I think by creating a workshop and awareness session, I think that's the way to go for us to manage this challenge that we face. Right. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, my view is that actually everyone, including all the workers, have a mobile phone, smartphone, digital tools already, so they are ready to be digitized. I think a key point is make the digital tools more user friendly. Think about the user interface and also as intuitive as possible. So as I showed you before, the sensors. So actually, a layman can, any worker can install and say, no, just plug and play. So that is because we've done some research on the design, how the designers of the sensors are user friendly. That makes the people like the technology. So that is the key point.
Chris, any last words? I think this will be the last question. Yep.
For the underground stuff, I think the things we need to change their habit to use the mobile phone for the works, the phones or maybe other works. They can use the digital wave. So we need to train them and then maybe again and again, because if you just train them one time and then they still want to use the traditional wave, they will need to let them to fully understand how this thing working, and then let them to know this one is faster and then it's helpful for them to finish the work. Yeah, this is
I totally agree with all three of you. It's just like selling an app, right? I mean, if your app is like not useful, not easy to use, then who will actually buy and download it, right? So the UI, the ease of use definitely must be there. If the worker, every worker have their own handphone nowadays, smartphones. So definitely there's opportunity for us to digitize everybody. Just make your whatever software, your workflow easy, and I think that would be the key to the success. Yeah. Okay. I think we have come to the end of the webinar. So like I've said, we will stay back and we'll close the session, but we'll stay back and answer all the questions that are outstanding digitally. And I guess don't think do I end off the session or you're going to wrap it up?
Yeah, we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
We'll change to the last slide.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mark, and speakers for the valuable sharing. Okay, so this session has marked the end of our ACES-BCA Digital Delivery Webinar 2.0. After exiting this webinar, right, like we shared earlier, you'll be directed to assess an evaluations form for today's sessions. So once submitted, right, you will be able to download the slides from the speaker today. Okay, so on this note, BCA would like to thank ACES for this collaboration